They were taken, most of them initially to Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, where the big project was being taken care of, or where they were doing projects on whatever foreign object that from other governments they had found. They were just looking at them. But that's where they did their studies, and they commenced their studies. And whatever they had left off in Germany, they continued over here at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. And apparently the deal they made with Russia, the United States made with Russia when Russia took over Berlin, was, okay, what are you going to take? What are we going to take from this whole thing?
Right.
They didn't take Berlin, but, you can take certain scientists. We'll take certain scientists. And they gave them the combustion engine, which the Russians eventually turned into the MiG fighter. And for those who don't know, the combustion engine was developed by the Germans. These scientists were so intelligent. And that's where we developed our jets from. So here's the United States giving Russia what they thought was a really good deal, the MiG. So here we go, and we take the scientists who were doing studies on anti-gravity and other things, and fiber optics and so forth. And so they continued that. And not only did they do that, but they apparently broke down a lot of those, their disc craft, and they shipped them over to the United States, eventually to Wright-Patterson.
And they were all German.
All German. And the ones that he told me. And I think Dr. Meath, he even gave me some names. M-I-E-T-H-E, I think, was one of them. There was a couple of other names. I haven't written of scientists he spoke with, but they were being just worked like animals there. They didn't really have a lot of rights. The NSA was really over them. I think the NSA at that point had developed. And then they started to farm them out to industrial complexes. So thus began the military-industrial complex.
I wonder if this also created the secret space program.
You know what? All of that initially started. But slowly, and Colonel Corso, he said, John, that gentleman, when he wrote that book, he goes, part of it's true and part of it's not. Colonel Corso, he told me by him, it was part of the plan for him to write this book. The government does eventually want to tell us about this. It's just not time. They do have the technology is just incredible. These machines that are flying out there. Here in Texas, being in Texas, this last flight of all these discs and large objects that are about a mile long. In Stephenville, remember that?
Mm-hmm. Oh, sure. Absolutely. We've been following that. Hey, let me also ask you, though, the symbols that some witnesses have always reported with the Roswell wreckage was strange, almost like hieroglyphs.
Okay. Yes. I asked him, what about these aliens that they saw?
Yeah, the
3 or 4. I go, what was that about? So if you did see the German craft, was that us? And he goes, absolutely. What it was a craft that went down, radar, like they had said, that was just large numbers around that nuclear area, highly secure area, because that's where the atomic bomb was being, where they had transferred the atomic bomb from the Enola Gay there at, in Roswell. So, the radar apparently disrupted the electromagnetic forces in that craft, and it crashed. But that was one of ours. They were already starting to fly it. And as you know, George, a month before that...
Why didn't they paint the swastika off the
Well,
thing?
it was one of theirs probably still. I don't think they painted it. I think it was one of the ones they transferred over. Remember they broke them down and brought them over?
Yeah.
And so can you imagine, here the war's over, they see a swastika on this craft that's highly technologically advanced next to a nuclear, armament area that's supposedly secure. How would that look?
Okay, and again, what about the bodies?
So the bodies, here's the deal. So there was, and they were apparently flying, and this is where he said he wasn't quite sure, but that the scientists were saying they were working together. and that is where the...
That's good. How are you? Good to see you, sir.
If you're elected president, will you finally trust the people enough to tell them about what the story is? Half the public believes that they are real. Would you finally tell us what the hell's going on?
Sure, I will.
Since the statement made by George Bush last July, there's been a vicious rumor circulating in the UFO community that you've been read into the UFO program. So my question to you is, in any of your government jobs, have you ever been briefed on the subject of UFOs? And if you have, when was it and what were you told?
Well, if I had been briefed on that, I'm sure it was probably classified and I couldn't talk about it.